رب العالمين صلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبد الله ورسوله وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا ما بعد. Today, inshallah, we are continuing our sessions in the subject matter of Ulum al-Qur'ani, the sciences of the Quran, knowledge that comes from the Quran, different types of knowledge. And this class will end at 3 o'clock, inshallah. The last class we dealt with the phrase. Al-ilmu knowledge, yu'rafu bi-rijalin. Al-ilmu yu'rafu bi-rijalin. Now, al-ilmu yu'rafu bi-rijalin ولا يعرف الرجال بعلم. The knowledge, if you have the knowledge, then you can detect, you can find out, you can see who are the men that claim to have that knowledge. But it's not the opposite. If you know these certain men, if you ride with these certain men, if you're with these certain men, then you automatically know the knowledge. It's not like that. So we mentioned that phrase last time. We were making the point about ilm, ulum, ta'aleem. And we use that expression because this is one of the reasons we have to teach the people. If we don't teach the people, and we allow the people to be tied to us, we keep the knowledge from them, we make them think that whatever we give them, that's it, then they'll never be able to determine when we are deceiving them or leading them astray. And this is how his ahzab, groups, cults, sects, they develop. Because people never learn the tools where they can go and start swimming in a baby swimming pool, and they graduate from a baby swimming pool to an adult swimming pool. Now they're treading in deep water, and maybe even they might swim in a lake, in a river. Don't try it, but even in the ocean. So this, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us, because we're just trying, but, some things you're not going to get, some things you get. So what you get, what you learn, what you comprehend, you take it. What you can't wrap your head around, don't beat your head against the wall over that thing. Knowledge is not like that. We don't open a 32-ounce bottle of knowledge, drink it, and you know everything. It doesn't work like that. Shay'in for shay'in, step by step, the dots connect. It takes a period of time. But we said again, it also depends on your relationship with Allah Ta'ala. This is not the county college, the 4-year black university, the Ivy League, 4-year college, university. This is the knowledge of the deen. You can be an alcoholic, you can be a drug user, you can be a thief, a robber, a murderer, a rapist, and graduate with a bachelor's degree. You could be the biggest criminal on earth and become educated. No connection between you and Allah, your creator, the one who sustained you, the one who fashioned you, the one who will call you to account on the day of judgment. But this knowledge, you have to have a irtibat, a a tie, يعني وثيقة, a connection, يعني علاقة, some type of relationship بينكم وبين ربكم, بينكم وبين ربكم, بينكم وبين Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, between you and your Lord. You have to have that connection. You have to have that connection in order to gain this knowledge and to be successful with the knowledge. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his help. Amen. So who has his notes from last time? Ibrahim. Alaikum salam wa barakatuh. You have notes from last time?
I got the...
You all right?
رجال بالعلم.
لا شيء قبله, something's before رجال. يعرفوا or عارف. عارفوا is either عارفوا or يعرفوا. It might be عارفوا رجال بعلم.
بعلم.
ولا يعرفوا العلم برجال.
عرفوا.
Yeah, عارفوا. Now.
عرفوا بالعلم.
عرفوا رجال بالعلم.
عرفوا
رجال بالعلم. ولا يعرفوا العلم بالرجال. Yes. And this is important because just as Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib said, and some people say, Karam Allah wajahahu. Karam Allah wajahahu. May Allah honor his face. Some ulama say you shouldn't say that. This is a statement of Tashayyur, the people of Shia. All of the faces of the companions, Karamahum Allah. Allah has honored their face because he said about them what? Radiyallahu anhum wa radu anhum. That's the honor. They're in Jannah. Even the ulama, they say, Hatta Muawiyah ibn Sufyan. With all of the dispute and mayhem and fitna that rose up between Muawiyah and Ali, who was Khalifa, and the fighting, still he's Sahaba. He's from those that Allah Azza wa Jal, afa Allah anhu, forgave him, pardoned him. Rafa'ahu, sha'nahu, and raised his status because he's from the Sahaba. Anyway, Sahih. Any one of us, has Allah forgiven our mistakes? Do we know He has promised us paradise, that we are good and our face is honored in the hereafter? No, don't know that. Yeah, don't know that. But then we have to believe that. We have to believe that. Now, so this statement is very important. Yani, عرفوا الرجال بالعلم ولا يعرف العلم برجال. The knowledge, knowing the knowledge is by knowing the men of knowledge, and not the knowledge is known by the men. If you know the knowledge, then you can detect who are the men. But if you don't know the knowledge and you tie yourself to men, those men, then that means you have the knowledge, then you become a hizb right away. And we see it. You see it. Look at this, for example, Shia. If you take them, for example, we say, those people, they have the knowledge, I'm with them. SubhanAllah. Everything they believe is against what the Prophet came with. From the Quran that the Prophet was sent with, they said that's not the Quran. The Fatima has the real Quran. Prophet does not have the Quran. Anything after that, khalas, is done. So if you look to them to say they're the people of knowledge, so with them is the knowledge, you'll be astray. But if you learn the knowledge, then you can say those men are not astray, those men are astray. Even you could say, I'm astray, I erred, I should have did this, that, if you have the knowledge. Yeah, so it's very important. That's why Ali ibn Abi Talib, we don't say Karam Allah wajhahu like them. We say, Radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He said, Araful haq, araful nas. Araful haq, araful nas. If you know the truth, then you can know the people truth. It didn't say araful nas, araful haq. If you know the people, then you know the truth. Not the other way around. Araful haq, if you know the truth, araful nas. Then you can decide and know who are the people of truth and falsehood. Yeah. So same. Or some say he said araful haq, araful ahl. If you know the haq, the knowledge, then you know the people of that knowledge. That was the last dars we had, and we took some different points around that issue, but we were talking about ulum, the word ulum. And then we went in allama, ta'aleem, ulum, like this, and then I brought that statement from the last class. Now, Ibrahim, you're looking, right?
Yes.
That's the ayn and the wow. You see the ayn and the wow?
Yes.
That should be ittabi'u. Where's the wow at?
It's right after the ayn.
Okay, but where's my finger? Is my finger anywhere close?
No. Got to come down a little bit more. Yeah.
What's that?
It's close to the wow.
Wow?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the ayn?
Yeah, the ayn is there, and the wow follows it. Yeah.
Ittabi'u.
Okay.
That means to follow. Ittabi'u. Ittabi'u. Ittabi'u.
Ittabi'u.
Can you all see that? Is that clear or needs to be written again? Ittabi'u. So here, ittabi'u is a command form. Allah is telling the Prophet, ittabi'u. And that should be unzila. Unzila. Is that unzila?
Unzila, yeah.
Unzila.
Unzila.
Yeah, unzila.
Yeah.
Ma unzila. You have ma, and then I put unzila. The space I can write?
No.
Where I can go back over?
No, left.
This way.
Yeah, space.
Is it even, like I'm not writing up too high to I want to be, almost like when you could see a sentence?
Yeah.
It's good. Ma unzila ilaykum. Ilaykum. Ilaykum is made up of two things. Ila means towards you. to you or towards. In kum, kumu, when we say kum, we stop, we don't pronounce the dhamma. Means you all the Muslims. So, to you, the message of Islam, it came to you, meaning you heard it, it reached you. And the ma here is talking about the Quran. The Quran. Ma unzila ilaykum. And then, I don't know if I have space here. Can I write here or no?
Yeah, you got a little space. Sure.
Men. It had to come from somewhere. Men who? Allah has just said, Rabbikum. Rabbikum. Now, Rabbikum. From Allah. So here, the highlight is the ma here. Allah said, Ittabi'u ma unzila ilaykum min rabbikum. We broke down ilaykum, ila, towards, to you. Ila can also mean with, ma'a. Where's ila? I want to go to it. Here?
No.
Over to it.
I don't need to be added, but I want to be where I can write above it.
Then
Go
up.
back up.
Up.
Eli, right?
Yes.
Up a little bit.
Okay.
Also means ma'a, yani with. That's why the Prophet he said, utitu. Uti means to be given. Uti. Like in the Musannif ibn Abi Shayba, one of the narrations is coming, where the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Az-zawaj utikum bil-mal. Az-zawaj utikum bil-mal. The marriage brings wealth to you. That's why the scholars said, from what will increase your provision is marriage. And you think about it. People who are single, they have a single life. But when a person gets married, not just the fact that you have to give the lady the mahar, the muhur, the sadaq, the marriage gift. And that if she wants, if she wishes, she can give you some of that out of her own free will. That's an increasement in your wealth. It's like you giving me $100 and I say, you know what, I think, thank you for the $100. Here's 20 for gas. But you didn't ask me. So they said, az-zawaj yutikum, yani yutikum mal. It increases your risk. It increases your risk. It comes with provisions. Allah Azza wa Jal blesses you through marriage. Likewise here, the word ma'a, the Prophet said, Inni utitu, I have been given, utitu, I have been given, Inni utitu, al-Qur'ana wa mithluhu ma'ahu, and something like it along with it, ma'a. So if anyone comes to you and say, follow the Quran, and they stop, there's a flag. Because the Prophet said, Inni utitu al-Qur'ana wa mithluhu ma'ahu. He's been given Quran and something along with it. his example. This is the meaning of ittabi'u ma unzila ilaykum min rabbikum. What came from your Lord? The Quran. What sunnah? Not just the Quran came from Allah. Sunnah came from Allah. Allah just said about the Prophet, وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ. Whatever the messenger gives you, take it. This is the command. وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُ. Whatever he told you to stay away from, then it's forbade. Don't go near it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. He doesn't speak from his intellect. And this doesn't mean that the Prophet is dumb, by the way. Stuck for Allah. He doesn't speak from his intellect. See, everything he has to rely on his Lord to tell him, he doesn't even have a brain. These are kuffar. وَالْمُنَافِقِينَ. These are the people of evil who say this. Allah said, لَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ مَاذَا عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. He doesn't speak from his emotion, what he feels, what he thinks, what he prefers, what somebody recommends. إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. He's only speaking from none other than يُوحَىٰ, meaning مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ, from your Lord Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So sunnah is wahy. Sunnah is revelation. Just like Quran is revelation, all of it came from Allah. That's why when Aisha described the Prophet, when those men came to the Prophet's house, he was gone. And they said, Kayfa kana Sallam. How was the Prophet, yani? Fil bayt. Subhanallah. May Allah help us, ameen. May Allah forgive us, ameen. If you want to know about a person, you got to know about him min dakhil al-bayt, from inside the house. If you want to know a person, you have to know him from inside the house. They know how he was in the masjid. He prayed, he gives the salah, he gives us the minbar, he gives advice, he sits with the people, he gives out the money to charity. He does a lot of, dealing with social issues. If he's with them in front of the masjid, out somewhere in Medina, someone comes poor, a lady comes, a young girl comes, grabs his clothes, Ya Rasulullah, I need this, I need that. He said, Khalas, come on, take her right in front of the people, give her what she want. They say, you're annoying, why are you grabbing on me? I'm the messenger of Allah, what are you doing? Scram. We didn't do that. They knew how it was. When the man grabbed him and said, Ya Muhammad, be just. Ma yuridu biha wajh Allah. You don't give me what is going to earn the face of Allah. You cheated me. You should give me better and more. Companions took their weapons, grabbed them up, ready to take them out. So said, Utrukuhu, leave. وَلَعَلَ جَاءَ مِنْهُ مَنْ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَيُسَلِّمُ. Maybe people come from amongst them who will pray after they believe in Allah. Give him what he wants. Give him more. When that man left, the Prophet said, سَيَكُونَ مِنْ هَذَا الرَّجُلِ ضِدُّ النَّاسِ. There will come a people from this man. They will outdo you in salah. They will outdo you in fasting. They read the Quran. Some people thought this was a praise. No, the Prophet is showing despite all of this good, this will be their reality. He said that they were يَخْرُجُونَ مِنَ الدِّينِ. They will make people from the religion. They will make people disbelievers. Then the Prophet gave the analogy of someone who shoots the bow. How fast it leaves the arrow from the bow. They will do it that quick, that hasty, And these, the Prophet said, when you see them, فَقْتُلُوهُمْ, kill them. These were what we call later on, they gained the name Khawarij. Why we mention that talk? Why we mention that example? We mention that example because these are the same people that the Prophet ﷺ talked about, coming from that man who grabbed the Prophet, and the Prophet spared his life, told the Sahaba, let him go, don't hurt him, don't kill him, give him what he wants. But when he left, the Prophet warned them what's going to come to this ummah from that man. They knew how he was in person. He knew how he was in dealing with the people. But how is he dakhil fil bayt? How is he in the house? The only way you're going to find that out, you got to go talk to his wives. And this is where you talk min wara'i hijab. You talk from behind a veil. Not in the masjid. Unfortunately, the veil is in the masjid. They put the curtain in the masjid. They said the women should be behind the veil. All the time of the Prophet, the women prayed behind the men. Hakada, like this. No boundary between them, no curtain, no wall. They weren't in the second floor, in the basement, in a little room with cobwebs, sweating, with a cracked window, while the brothers have fan and AC. No. They weren't up on the balcony, looking down like this. Allahu musta'an. They went masjid wahid, ra'a, mada, rijal. وَبَيْنَهُمَا الْأَطْفَالِ. And sometimes between them and the men were children lined up. So they knew how the Prophet was in their everyday life, but how was he in the house? They went, they asked Aisha, how is he? She said, Huwa Quran Meshi. He's the walking example of the Quran. This is the point here, ma'a, with. He, the guidance that Allah said, ittabi'u. And the scholar said this is not ikhbaring from Allah to the Prophet. Allah is not commanding the Prophet something, informing him of something. Ikhbaring means he's telling him something. This is a command from the Lord of the worlds to the Prophet. This is the difference between Allah telling you something and him commanding. This is a command. Ittabi'u is a command form. Ittabi'u ma unzila ilaykum min rabbikum. Ittabi'u ma here means yani Quran wa sunnah. That's why the Prophet again he said, Inni utitu al-Qur'ana wa mithluhu ma'ahu. I've been given the Quran and something along with it like it. What does he mean? His physical example. Allah inspired him. He did not make up two rakat out loud for Fajr. He did not make up 4 rakat inaudible, where you don't hear the person for Dhuhr and Asr. He did not make up, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to make Maghrib 3 rakat. He did not do that on his own. Isha is 4, and the last 2 prayers of the night are loud, where everybody can hear it, while the daytime prayer is where people don't hear. He didn't make that up. All of that was revealed to him from Allah. All of that is revelation. That's the meaning of he doesn't speak from revelation. He only inspired by Allah. He's only given revelation from Allah, and that's how he speaks. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So ittabi'u, to follow. Ittabi'u. Ittabi'u.
Ittabi'u.
Everybody. Ittabi'u.
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 Ma. Unzila. Ilaykum. Ittabi'u.
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 Ma. That ma. Unzila.
أنزل
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 إليكم
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 من ربكم
من ربكم
من ربكم.
من ربكم.
This is the ayah in Surah Ahzab. Surah Ahzab. And this, again, is complex because it's not just this on the tongue. Many times that's all we get is lip service. We don't understand. Well, I just think it's a name. We don't understand. Moving from my mouth, maybe I should. The implication of this. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded the Prophet. He can't tell the people something and do something different. He has to follow. Ittabi'u means all of you all. Ma unzila ilaykum. Ma here means whatever Allah Azza wa Jal sent to you. But some scholars said, Ma huna bimana al-Quran wa sunnah. Said here it means Quran and Sunnah. Some people have the idea you can't follow the Quran because the Quran is not something that has feet. You follow, like they say, follow that guy. You start following him. He's looking back. He's looking back. Hey, he's following me. You're driving, you look in the rear view mirror, you turn left, that car turn left. You get to the stop sign, you go right, the car turn right. You look, see, wow, he's following me. So some people have the idea that you can't follow Quran because Quran doesn't have feet. And that's because the meaning of following really normally means somebody that can emulate, you can copy, you can, tangibly follow them, you can copy them. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing to follow that what has been sent to you from your Lord. You can follow Quran. But what does it mean to follow Quran? Follow Quran, number one, means firstly to believe in the Quran. Believe that it's the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like when we had the class Shurbat al-Iman, we're talking about Iman is what? Tasdeeq, yani with the tongue, to claim something. What iqrar al-qalb, and to have it settled in your heart, which is going to produce actions because of it. Which is going to produce actions because of it. So here, when the command ittabi'u, first thing to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then His book. That He revealed the Quran, that the Quran is revelation, His guidance. Number two, to read it, as Allah said, Yatslu alayhim. Yatslu. Yatslu, we normally have it translated to recite. But Yatslu also means to follow, to apply, tatbiq. So here, ittabi'u includes applying as well as understanding after you believe in that Quran. So ittabi'u has a lot of things tied to it when we talk about mean. It doesn't just mean Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran, فَسَلِّمُوا عَلَى فَسَلِّمُوا عَلَيْكُمْ, to give salams upon yourself, so you give salams. That's following it, but applying it means that you save the people from your heart. That you save the people from your heart. That's why Rasulullah told the man, "La taghdab, don't become angry. Don't become angry." The man said, "Ya Rasulullah, awsini, give me something, tell me something good." The Prophet said, "La taghdab, don't act out of anger." Most of the time, the translate is that don't become angry. But the word taghdab, Allah wasn't taf'al, don't do. So don't do something out of anger. Don't do actions of anger. The Prophet said, don't do it. Of course, if you cut the anger off, you'll never do actions out of anger. But it doesn't mean don't become angry, because anger is something Allah created in you. Just like happiness is something Allah created in you. Sadness is something Allah created in you. So here the Prophet told the man, as in other hadith, the Prophet said, إِذَا غَضِبَ فَلَا تَتَحَرَّكْ وَلَا تَتَكَلَّمْ. If you're angry, don't speak and don't move. If you're angry, don't speak, don't move. Don't speak, why? Because you're going to say something that you regret. Don't move, why? Because if you move, you may grab somebody, you may hurt them, you may even kill somebody and regret it. So here when the Prophet told the man, La taqba, don't become angry, he was telling him character. He was telling him part of ittabi'u. He was telling him part of yatlu alayhim ayatina. Read them the ayat, but also tell them how to apply it. This is part of reading the Quran, not just reading for reward. Applying it. Tatbiq, to apply it. Tadabbaru. And we mentioned before, tadabbar, from the word dubur, to sit. So tadabbara, at the end of something, to think about it. Tadabbara, before you say something, at the end of that thought, to think about it. Tadabbara, to put that thing that you or so entrenched in, have something on your mind at the end of it. Don't just go into it. Tadabbara, from the word dubra, the end of something. Like the Prophet said, kulli dubra salat. At the end of every salat, you say, Allahumma innaka anta salam, wa minka salam, tabarakta, dhal jalali wal ikram, Allahumma ayni ala dhikrika, bishukrika, husni ibadati. These terms the Prophet said, fi kulli dubra salat, meaning before you taslim. Some scholars say you can say this statement, Allahumma innaka anta salam. Allah, you are the salam. You are the saver from problems. You are the saver from sicknesses. You are the one who gives security. Wa minka salam. And it comes from you. Ya dhal jalali. Oh, the one who's lofty. Dhil ikram. And the one with nobility. Some scholars say you can say that after taslim. Like we say you're making dhikr. But in some hadith, the Prophet said, Fi kulli dubur salat. Dubur salat means at the end of salat, before you taslim. He told Mu'adh to say, and he emphasized to Mu'adh how much he loved them, 4 different ways. And then he said, never forget, Fi dubur salat, at the end of your salat. Meaning before you taslim, to say, Allahumma a'inni, oh Allah help me. Ala dhikrika, to remember you, wa shukrika, to be obedient to you, wa husni ibadati, and to have the highest level of worship to you. This is before you taslim. So before you do something, tadabbaru, think about the consequences. Tadabbaru, before you finish the ayat and you run to dunya, think about what you just read. This is part of ittabi'u, to follow. Ittabi'u, to apply. Ittabi'u, to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us. We don't have a choice. Ittabi'u ma unzila. If you say ma unzila, that's wrong. Because that mean has the madda. It has the line on the side that means alone. That ma. And if you read in Quran, because unzila, the alif comes in the word right after ma, you hold it 4 count. Ittabi'u ma unzila ilaykum min rabbikum. Or you can do 2 at least. 2 to 4 count. Whenever you see that ma, and then something comes after it, the word begins with an alif, you have to elongate 2 to 4. Just like in Surah Al-Baqarah. Just like in Surah Al-Baqarah. So this, is important to understand. Ilaykum means ma'akum. What has been given to you, O Muhammad, and what comes along with you, Muhammad, is an example. And this is for everybody to follow. And Allah Azza wa Jalla prohibit the Prophet, the end of the ayah, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا مِن دُونِهِ أَوْلِيَاءَ. And don't follow others besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because this awliya here doesn't mean like say friends of Allah. No, awliya here means ma'budan, as a deity. If you obey anything other than Allah, you make them awliya. Awliya has a lot of meanings. One of the meanings of awliya, ma'bud, a deity. So Allah said, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُ مِن دُونِي, don't obey and follow anyone other than me. Awliya is a deity. And then Allah said, قَلِيلًا مَا تَذَكَّرُونَ, very few people will be mindful of this injunction. So this is one of the great parts of the knowledge of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we've been commanded along with our messenger, اتَّبِعُوا مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكُم مِّن رَبِّكُمْ, to follow that which has been sent to us through our prophet, to him and to the world, the Quran, the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. His physical example, again, as Aisha said, or Quran Meshi. He is the walking example of the Quran. If you want to see the Quran, she said, look at that man. He's going to exemplify physically that book that was sent to him, that was for the world, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Any questions? Any questions?
Shaykh,
Fadlu.
so that I love so much at the end of Baqarah, when Allah extols the obedience of Rasul Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his companions. Amana Rasulullah bima unzila. That's similar to this unzila right here.
Yeah, unzila means what came down. Nazala, like the al-ma'u nazala al-an. Al-ma'u nazala min as-sama'i al-an. The water's nazala. Nazala means to come down. You hear the water now. Al-ma' nazala min as-sama'i. Water's coming from the heavens. A'i yani al-matar al-an. It's raining. So nazala means to come down. Unzila is something that Allah Azza wa Jal particularly sends down, talking about, in this case, Quran. Unzila means something that came from up, nazala, like the kunut. When they make the kunut against the enemies, called kunut nawazil, nazala, nawazil, that Allah bring the punishment down on the enemy. So nazala indicates something came from up. Nazala means something descends down upon you. So that same word now is used in the end of Surah Al-Baqarah. Amana Rasulu bima unzila ilayhi min rabbihi wal mu'minun huna unzila ilayka min rabbikum. Same thing. Just different forms of what was revealed to him, what was revealed to you, what came down to you, same thing. Now, any questions before we go on? So, unzila in this ayah also means that the Quran came from above. It also proves that Allah huwa fawq. Because Allah can't send something down if He's not up.
Right.
Quran can't come down if it's not up with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These different points can be used to refute and to debunk deviation, such as Allah fi kulli makan. Allah is in every place. You can't put Allah in a particular place. He can't be restricted. He can't be contained. Ar-Rahman al-Arsh means istola. He conquered the Arsh, and now He rules above it in a manner that's befitting to Him. If you say He rules above it, you're saying He's sitting down like I'm sitting in a chair. All of these false claims and deviation can be debunked by just this one ayah. It's one ayah. And that we have been given the liberty and the choice to choose religions and combine and, Allah said, ittabi'u. That's a command form. So Muslims don't have a choice. And these days we have a choice. These days we have a choice, the people say. You can be Christian, Jew, Buddha, all religion is the same. You can't force a person into faith. We're all one. But we don't have a choice according to this ayah. Ittabi'u ma unzila ilaykum min rabbikum. And it's our Lord. It's not like the Yahud say, they ask Isa, ask your Lord. Nah, min rabbikum. It's our Lord. It's your Lord too. It's not his Lord and not your Lord. SubhanAllah. So this ittabi'u, to follow, but also to apply, also to recite the injunctions of Allah, also not to put the intellect over the revelation. Ittabi'u also means in character and not just in rituals. Ittabi'u also means to refer back to. Ma means anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down. That's why many scholars say even in the affairs of dunya, you have to return back to the book of Allah. Not just in worldly issues, medicine, technology, issues of philosophy, issues of history. Many scholars say anything you need, refer back to the Quran. Not just what's tied to faith, aqidah, ibadat. It said anything because ma'ni bifid al-umum, means general. Ma unzila ilaykum. Every knowledge came from Allah. Ar-Rahman, the one who has the mercy. Allama al-Quran. He taught the Quran. Khalaq al-insan. He created the human being. Allama al-bayan. And he gave him the explanation of things. الشمس والقمر بحسبان. And he made the sun and the moon have its orbit and go around. Every knowledge came from Allah. Every knowledge came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gave you the ability to find something that He already created and to make something out of what He created. You didn't find it on your own and you didn't create it for nothing. That's why when they say, well, Allah He creates and humans create too. Yeah, but Allah said, فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. Blessed be Allah who is the best of those create. So they said, well, we create too. Yeah, but you create from something Allah created and you use that. Allah creates from nothing. You create from something Allah created and gave you the know-how and the intelligence and the ability, but Allah created from nothing. That's why He's the best of those who create. Allahu Akbar Kabir. So this is a very important ayah. And again, ilaykum min rabbikum here, yani ilaykum ma'a. Ma'a has the meaning of yani ila also carries the meaning of with. Ila normally means to, towards. This is what? Ila, this is the movement that I get in trouble about. See how I move? I have no idea where I'm at. When you're blind, see the whole thing about having what they call this, the St. Louis is going to come out. Let me get these words right. Equilibrium. Yeah, hey, I did it. I didn't mess it up. Tell you. When we talk about the coordination of the eye and the rest of the body, sound, hearing, and it all has its role. It's like when you synchronize two devices together. So when stuff comes on this device, you share it on that device. The senses are like that too. So when a person can't see, she doesn't realize that step this way or that way is more than that step. He doesn't realize 3 inches away is really 6 inches away. It's moving. So I can be over there facing this way and still think I'm at the border. So that's what just happens. So Eli also means with, ma'a. So here it's indicative to the prophet saying he was given Quran and something, ma'a means with the Quran. So when you see ilaykum to you, Ila means towards you, to you. Allah gave something to you, it came towards you, it came in your direction, you couldn't have missed it. It also means ma'a. That thing came with something else. That thing came for you with something else. And so when you understand Eli could mean ma'a, then you understand why the prophet said, Inni utitu. Indeed, I was given something. Inni utitu. Al-Qur'ana, the Qur'an. He said, wa mithlahu, and like it, ma'ahu. Ma'a means along with the Qur'an. Meaning his physical example. Him being a role model, him showing you, as Aisha said again, or Quran and Meshi, he's the walking Quran, meaning he's going to show you physically what that ayat says. He's going to show you what it means. Because again, how would we know how to pray the salawat if we didn't have the Prophet? How would we know how to pray Fajr? How would we know to pray 2 rak'ah, 4 rak'ah, make it inaudible, make it where you can hear it loud? How would we know to pray in the daytime? Don't just pray 2 rak'ah. How would we know to pray 4? How we know to pray with 2 tashahhud and 1 taslim? Why we don't pray 2 rak'ah taslim, 2 rak'ah taslim? We pray them all together 4. And you make 2 sittings, tashahhud ula or tashahhud akhir, and the last at-tahiyyatu lillahi. Why we don't pray some of it out loud, like on Jumu'ah or during the eclipse? Because the Prophet or Quran Meshi, he exemplifies, explained for us what Allah told him and gave him to show us of this Quran. Or mithluhu ma'u, ma'a means along with. So ila carries the meaning to and also with. Then this is why in the beginning we said ulum al-Quran. If we just dealt with Arabic, you might not get ayah. You just get some grammar, some words, vocabulary. We need to understand the book of Allah. In order to have that penetrate our heart, we have to understand it. And that's one of the reasons why we have all the problems we have now around the world. Because the Muslims standing like this, Ameen, 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 and don't understand this book. Ramadan is Ameen, Allahumma Ameen, Ya Allah. Don't understand the book. Dua is not going to be answered from a Lord that you don't know who your Lord is. You don't know the one you call the Lord. It's like me calling this wall, thinking this wall is my Lord. Is the wall going to answer me? No. It's like me calling on Buddha, Jesus, Yahweh, be Yahweh, anything. I think that's my Lord. I'm not sure. Are they going to answer me? No. I have to know who is Allah. It's like you're walking and someone call you Albert. Are you going to answer?
No.
Who's Albert in here? Raise your hand. Let me see your hand. No Albert?
No.
No Mo?
No.
No Steve?
No.
No Joe?
No.
Somebody calling you that. He's running behind you, tapping the shoulder. Joe, Joe. Like, man, my name ain't no Joe. How are you going to answer somebody who doesn't even know who you are? That's the same thing. وَلِلَّهِ مَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. And Allah's example is higher than that. How is the Lord going to answer you who you don't even know who that Lord is? This is very important that we understand as much as possible the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent as a healer, as a rahmah, as a guider, as a direction, as something that Allah commanded us to follow. فَاتَّبِعُوا مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكُمْ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ هَذَا صَدَّقَ نَبِينا Muhammad. Any questions?
What surah is the ayah in?
This is Surah Ahzab. That's number 33. That's that. Any questions? So what did you learn from the Dars today? nobody can leave. I'm gonna lock the door and block the door. Y'all gonna have to fight when you get out unless you give me a benefit. And you know how I fight.
We have to.
He want to go home. Allah Akbar. Without a fight. He want to go home in peace. Allah Akbar. MashaAllah.
We have to concentrate and ponder on the meaning of the Quran.
MashaAllah. Tabarakallah. Have to concentrate and ponder on the meaning of the Quran. Wallahi. This is why they're at war with us, this book. And they're doing a good job of defeating us because we don't know the book. If we knew the book, Allahu Akbar Kabir. We would have people, like, Allahumma somebody else. Another person want to go home.
First step in following the Quran is to believe in Allah and in His book.
Oh, wow, you really want to go home. You want to go play soccer or something. You've never been that swift on your feet. Congratulations, young man. Allahu Akbar. The first step is to believe in Allah. The first step to believe in His book is to believe in Allah. And we want to add, in parentheses, to believe in Allah, as Imam Shafi'i said, Ala marad Allah wa ala marad Rasulullah. The way that Allah wants you to believe and His messenger wanted you to believe. Not the way we want to believe. We put in parentheses that the first step to believing in the book is to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way that Allah intended for us to believe, the way He directed us in His Nabi Sallallahu. Next.
Say it one more time.
Imam Shafi'i, he said, he believes, Amantu billahi, he said, I believe in Allah. Bima arad Allah, the way that Allah intended, wa bima arada nabiyyi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and wa bima arada nabiyyihi, and the way that His prophet intended for me to believe. I believe in Allah the way that Allah intended for me to believe, meaning the way that Allah said, that you don't make up something or bring something on your own or deny something because it doesn't make sense or substitute something from the times that we live in. And we believe in Allah the way that Allah, bima arada Allah or bima arada Rasulullah or bima arada Nabiyyi sallallahu, the way that Allah intended for us to believe and the way that the Prophet intended. Meaning with the correct belief from the Quran and the Sunnah. Now. And that's a challenge in itself, but this is, you have to insert that part. The other guy's spending the night. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Somebody's looking at his notes. That's smart. That's what the notes are for. Jazakumullah khairan. You have two types of when people write the hadith or preserve the hadith. You have hifz kitaba, writing down hadith, memorize it by writing, and hifz sadr, and dabt al-kitaba or dabt al-sadr. How you know something is true by what's written down and by what people memorize. So the writing of the notes, many ulama wrote their hadith down. That's how they went back and checked to make sure what they memorized was right. So I hear the papers over there.
Okay, to me, it ties into last class and this class, and Ulum al-Quran, a lot of knowledge, and the alim was studying a lot of knowledge, and to
take your time, take a deep breath.
Okay, you got to have the knowledge in order to understand, in order to know the men of knowledge, and you got to understand and apply this knowledge. You got to believe in Allah. You got to believe in the Quran, and in order to do that, you have to understand it. You have to get it taught to you by those who know it to understand it.
MashaAllah. So in other words, there's a blueprint already laid out. We don't need to reinvent anybody's programmer will.
No,
And it takes patience. Now,
it worked.
last but not least, my man from the Bronx.
You know, you have to learn. You have to learn to understand. First, you have to believe in Allah and His messenger, and in order to do that, you have to learn the correct belief of Allah and His messenger in order to understand the Quran.
Give me 3 points. One, from the Arabic language, how the Arabic language is a tool or not a tool for that. Number 2, how people need to humble themselves in order to get to that point, not to give up and not to feel I should know this. And number 3, how we can use that knowledge today when it was revealed 1446. Give me 3 points around that. The language, the humility, and using it in modern times. Quickly.
Yeah.
Any one of y'all, all of y'all, quickly. Just to close out. How the Arabic language has some effect, the tool for these things we just mentioned, understanding, applying, believing in Allah. What roles does the Arabic language play in that? Does it or does it not? Number 2, how a person has to humble themselves in order to get to understanding after belief, in order that they don't burn out or to feel I should know this and to feel belittled because they didn't get it, and how we use this in modern times when it was revealed 1446 years ago.
Well, I'll put one part, inshallah. Inshallah.
You can do all 3 parts. I have faith in you.
Inshallah. Yeah. In terms of the language, the Arabic language is such a fruitful, expansive language.
And you guys pay attention because students benefit. The last student should be sharp because he's listening to everybody before him. Fadal Sheikh.
It's such a full language for spirituality, the relationship with Allah and His creation, which is why Allah picked it. So, it's when you use the language, even non-Muslims, Arabs, they may say Alhamdulillah, they may say Inshallah, and things like that, and it's a reminder.
Yes.
English is nothing like that. You can be you can be very religious and say nothing about your Lord all day, and not swear, but it's just the way English is.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
Yeah. So that's
The language part. Humility, what it takes to get to the part of understanding versus feeling it's too difficult or I'm smarter than this but I'm not getting it. How you have to humble yourself to get to the point that you're talking about. Humility.
One of the great examples for me was Khalid ibn Walid's father when he came, and he was like very good with the Arabic language, and when he met the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and was confronted with the revelation, he knew it wasn't from no human beings, and he wanted to take Shahada for a moment. But he would have to go back to his crew, the Quraysh, and so as opposed to humbling himself and taking Shahada, he would got more arrogant and went to the fire. So.
Wow. But he ended up accepting Islam. Khalid bin Walid.
Yeah, but his dad.
His dad did.
His dad.
Yeah. They're two different ends of the spectrum.
Right.
One humbled himself eventually, knowing in turn, and the other one didn't. Right. Yeah, mashallah, barakallah people. And lastly, today versus then. How do we transcend the likes of these ayat to modern times? How does this fit? How can we benefit as it relates to what was revealed 1446?
It's applicable. Everything about it is applicable. Any ayat you can pick out, there's going to be some benefit that you can see. We talked about going on in Gaza right now.
Law.
SubhanAllah. The reason why the Jews hate the Muslims, even though we treated them better than anyone else, is this.
This book.
What Allah calls them out clearly. And, you know, they do the same thing. They do what they did before.
Allah Musta'an. Hasbunallah. Fadda. Anybody else?
Yeah, okay, the language, Arabic language is precise. It gives you exactly what you need to know and how you need to know it.
Even color folks?
Even colorful.
Allah Akbar.
And you have to, you know, you got to humble yourself to learn it. You got to humble yourself to, you know, realize you don't know, you didn't know, and this is what, you know, Allah sent in this language to teach you.
Allah Akbar. MashaAllah. And modernization that we live in, how can we transcend this ayah to benefit this time, although it was revealed for them in that time, 1446?
It still applies today. The truth is the truth.
Truth is the truth.
It applies today. What was told, what the truth that was told back then is still the truth today.
Allah Akbar.
The creator back then is the creator today.
Allah Akbar. Say, Allah, you better faith. Anything else? 2 minutes. 1 minute and 59 seconds.
This is the language. This is the language of the Muslim. This is
the language of the Muslim. The language, this, hand signs.
This is the language.
What's the language?
Arabic.
Okay, exactly.
Arabic is the language.
Yeah, there's a lot of languages. You got to be detailed.
This is, Arabic is the language of the Muslims, of the believers.
Yes.
And this is why it's important for us to understand this. The only way we're going to understand this, the truth of this Quran, is through the Arabic language.
Allah, you benefit. Humility.
And with sincerity. And asking Allah to give us the sincerity to understand His language.
Allah, you benefit. MashaAllah. Barakallah. So you covered all three too. Anybody else? Anything else? The clock is ticking. Again tonight, after Salat al-Maghrib, Shabbat al-Iman, the branches of faith, Iman, after Salat al-Maghrib, inshallah. Ibrahim, can you erase